when he said, let us cross over. Now, it happened to them, it's happened to us. We have devalued words to the point where words don't mean a whole lot to us. I mean, I've been guilty of it myself, just saying. Jesus was not the kind of person that's like, just saying. I'm kidding. And his words had authority and they had power. And so when Jesus said, let's cross over, Jesus meant we're going over. He didn't mean let's go to the middle and sink. He meant let's cross over. Now, they're not accustomed to taking Jesus' words like this. Jesus talked to a group one time in John 6, and here it is. He said in John 6, Carrie, if you jump to that one, John 6:63, he said, it's the Spirit who gives life, the flesh profits nothing. The words that I speak to you are spirit and they're life. But there are some of you that don't believe. So Jesus had people that didn't believe. But he said, my words are spirit and life. Now here's something that we have not taken into account. When Jesus said, let's cross over, he wasn't just saying. His words had spirit, they had life in them, and they could have stood right there. They could have woken him up. Instead of going, Jesus, don't you care? They could have said, Jesus, you said we're going over. We got a problem. Could you help us with this? That would have been a whole different thing. Instead of accusing him, they could have said, well, he said we're going over. So what's happened is oftentimes we listen and he said, well, how does that make sense for us? Well, it makes sense for us because when we choose to believe God's word, then it becomes powerful to us. Right. When you choose to believe that God said he hasn't given you a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind, you choose to believe that, it begins to change things. So then instead of putting up with fear, you begin to go, no, I do not have to live afraid. I don't have to live terrified. Because he said he hadn't given me a spirit of fear, but a power and of love and of a sound mind. What happens is sometimes we're waiting for something big in our life to show that God's word is true. What we have to do is take a step of believing to come to the place of knowing. Now listen, how many of you heard someone tell you about Jesus Christ? Maybe it was a relative, loved one, that you knew about salvation before you ever got saved. That you knew about it, but maybe it was a few years. Anybody have a few years? Maybe you grew up in church, you didn't make a decision until later on. Anybody? Something? But how many of you knew what to do? I knew it when I'm walking across the field in Carbondale, Illinois. When I asked Jesus to be the Lord of my life, I knew exactly what I was doing. I'd grown up in a Baptist church. I knew the plan of salvation. If you believe in your heart and confess with your mouth, you will be saved. I knew that. But knowing that wasn't powerful in my life until I began to act on that. So walking across a field in Carbondale, Illinois in 1978, I bowed my head and said, Lord, I ask you to come into my life and to be the Lord of my life. And walking across that field on June 6th, I got born again. Just born again. Could I have been born again before? Yes. Yes. Some of you, I was laughing, I was talking with Joe McGee. Some of you, I watched when Joe McGee and Dave Reaver came. And I've been preaching my heart out to you guys for years. And I watch people been sitting there and he gives an altar call and some of you just shoot that hand up. And I'm like, what have I been doing for this long? It doesn't matter. What happened is that's then when they chose to act on that. And when they chose to act on it is when it became powerful in your life. When you make it personal is when it becomes powerful.